closing Splash Mountain to turn it into Tiana's Bayou Adventure after complaints that its Song of the South theme was racist. Okay, but where's the outrage about Disney forcing a mentally challenged dwarf to mine blood diamonds? Senator Rick Scott, seen here learning that Harry Potter has fallen into his trap, announced that he is running for re-election, promising to finish the border wall and name it after Donald Trump, even though most things named after Donald Trump are complete failures. Police officials in Colorado say that a bear discovered a wildlife camera in the woods and posed for more than 400 selfies. 400 selfies of a bear is also known as a Grindr profile. Google announced that it is cutting 12,000 jobs, while Yahoo announced that it is now run by a family of raccoons. Florida has proposed legislation that would allow residents to carry firearms without a permit. Also, everyone gets to do one murder. It was also reported that George Santos lied to potential campaign donors that he was a producer of the Broadway musical Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, though he did end up working with the Green Goblin. Some parents in Oregon are having large groups of their children ride their bikes to school at the same time in a formation they're calling a bike bus, and pedophiles are calling a buffet. An Arizona woman was arrested after she allegedly went day drinking while her 5-month-old child was sitting home alone, like a loser. Researchers say the number of gray whales off western North America has continued to decline for several years. It's a sad fact that makes me wonder if whale oil is really the best way to give my hair this amazing volume. British officials have unveiled King Charles III's new royal monogram. The C stands for Charles, the R is for Rex, and the 3 is for how many hundreds of yards Prince Andrew has to stay away from schools. The house where Lizzie Borden murdered her parents has been sold for $2 million and will be turned into a bed and breakfast. Though a bed and breakfast where a murder happened is pretty much just a day's in. The White House has introduced a new plan to put nutrition labels on the front instead of the back. So to give you an idea of the overall health of Americans, we're too lazy to do this.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
A woman in Taiwan who thought her boyfriend was cheating cut off his penis and flushed it down the toilet. I'm sorry, thought he was cheating? A professional golfer in Florida was arrested after he tried to meet a 15-year-old girl he met online who turned out to be a detective. Said the golfer, "Mulligan?"
Come on, man.
Sadly, there's more. For those of you wondering, in golf terms, a 15-year-old is 3 under par. A new study says that the combined mass of every ant on Earth is greater than the mass of every mammal and bird combined, thanks mostly to this juicy bitch.
The CIA is marking its 75th anniversary by launching a podcast, and because it's the CIA, they're launching it directly into an Afghani wedding.
Yeah. The U.S. Surgeon General is warning that children are joining social media at too young an age, and they should wait until they're at least 16, when they're hotter.
Pope Francis criticized laws banning homosexuality as unjust, saying that it's not a crime even though Catholic doctrine views homosexuality as a sin. He also stressed that Catholic doctrine views age as nothing but a number.
A new study finds that during the pandemic, students' math scores dropped by almost 10%. Wow, so more than half.
New York City is now requiring employers to disclose salary ranges in all job listings. Employers must list everything ranging from the top salary all the way down to the female salary.
Some parents in Oregon are having large groups of their children ride their bikes to school at the same time in a formation they're calling a bike bus. And pedophiles are calling a buffet.
Police in Queens were searching for a suspect who hijacked a bus and then immediately crashed it into a utility pole. Okay, so we know it's a woman.
Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans went wild in streets of New York.
China has launched the third and final module for its permanent space station. Now all they have to do is launch some children to assemble it.
An Arizona woman was arrested after she allegedly went day drinking while her 5-month-old child was sitting home alone, like a loser.
Texas police arrested a woman who broke into a man's house, stripped naked, and slept in one of his beds. The man called the police when he realized the woman was not attractive.
Researchers say the number of gray whales off western North America has continued to decline for several years. It's a sad fact that makes me wonder if whale oil is really the best way to give my hair this amazing volume. British officials have unveiled King Charles III's new royal monogram. The C stands for Charles, the R is for Rex, and the 3 is for how many hundreds of yards Prince Andrew has to stay away from schools.
The Postal Service announced a new stamp honoring the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. There's also a stamp honoring Clarence Thomas that says, "Flip me over and start licking."
A video was posted of a recent Smash Mouth concert in which, a recent Smash Mouth concert in which the lead singer is seen slurring his words, doing a Nazi salute, and threatening to kill an audience member. And it gets worse. He then started singing.
Police in England are now using specially trained dogs to detect semen at crime scenes. This replaces the old method of detecting semen, slipping on it.
Elon Musk took over Twitter. Use of the N-word on the site has reportedly jumped 500%. It's the biggest increase in the use of the N-word since the last time I stubbed my toe.
A woman in Slovakia helped arrest a man robbing a gas station by performing oral sex on him until police arrived. The woman was able to stall him for that long by being terrible at it. Tensions are on the rise after North Korea launched more than 20 missiles into the ocean, and all because the Little Mermaid is black. It's not real.
This week, President Biden pardoned thousands of convicted marijuana users, and it feels like maybe he celebrated with them a little because yesterday, Biden gave a speech at a car factory and opened with this.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
The White House has introduced a new plan to put nutrition labels on the front instead of the back. So to give you an idea of the overall health of Americans, we're too lazy to do this.
It's a lot. It's a lot. After trying for several years, the New York City Commission voted to remove a statue of Thomas Jefferson from City Hall. They were finally able to remove it by telling the statue there was a hot black lady outside.
Well,
Residents in Rome are upset after a wild boar and her 6 piglets were killed on a playground near the Vatican. But it's like they say, nothing good ever happens on a playground near the Vatican. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
This week there was a full moon known as the Beaver Moon, which can be seen about a month after a waxing moon.
That's a good joke. That's a good. Starbucks has launched a new eco-friendly program called Borrow a Cup, in which customers return their cup after finishing their drink so the store can use it again. And Dunkin' Donuts plans to compete with this promotion by not doing that.
The house where Lizzie Borden murdered her parents has been sold for $2 million and will be turned into a bed and breakfast. Though a bed and breakfast where a murder happened is pretty much just a day's in.
Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at. A group of researchers are trying to determine why humans have a desire to feed other animals, such as birds and squirrels. But if I had to guess, it's probably because their wife passed away. I don't know why I thought that'd make you laugh.
During a White House ceremony, President Biden wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday, then accidentally called her a great president. Even worse, he was talking to a portrait of Michelle Obama.
Orthodox Jewish leaders in New York City lashed out at a newly imposed coronavirus restriction in their neighborhoods by setting fires and burning masks. And it's a miracle because the mask burned for 8 nights.
Come on, dude.
That's a good one. Come on. Stop it. Stop it.
Firefighters in Florida rescued a horse that fell into a septic tank and was nearly submerged in raw sewage. A horse submerged in raw sewage is also known as an Arby's beef and cheddar.
Arby's, we eat the horse.
In the wake of the R. Kelly verdict, there's a growing movement online to force music streaming services to remove his music. I mean, after all, streaming is basically what got him in trouble in the first place. A statue of George Floyd on display in a New York City park was defaced for the second time. Police are searching for the suspect and are planning to serve him with a job application.
A woman in Taiwan who thought her boyfriend was cheating cut off his penis and flushed it down the toilet. I'm sorry, thought he was cheating?
South Carolina lawmakers voted to add firing squad to its execution methods. And I think it's nice that people will finally get the chance to be shot after they're found guilty. A woman in Arizona gave birth to a 14-pound baby boy. So now Arizona has 2 Grand Canyons. It's a math joke. I'm surprised you guys didn't get it.
Oh my God.
A new study shows that the COVID vaccine does not cause infertility in men or women. Damn it, why did I get this?
A professional
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, it's the first show of spring, so we'll start tonight with puppy murder. In a new book, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem revealed that she once shot a dog that was untrainable. That's insane. If a dog is untrainable, you don't shoot it, you give it to President Biden.
Donald Trump said at a rally that he would make November 5th Christian Visibility Day. Wait, I thought that was called Ash Wednesday. The Florida Supreme Court has allowed the state's 6-week abortion ban to take effect. So now Florida's only remaining method for ending a pregnancy is roller coasters.
MAGA insiders are saying that Noam, seen here wearing the hair of that dog, now has zero chance of being Trump's running mate. But I don't know, something tells me Trump would fully support killing disobedient pets.
Mitch McConnell, seen here catching up on news from the Middle East, announced that he will step down as the Republican leader in the Senate. McConnell has been leader for almost 20 years, but he first got involved in politics back in 1968 when he lost a fiddle contest to the devil. Insiders said that during his hush money trial, Donald Trump complained that none of his supporters were in court with him. But that's not true. What about all those cops?
It was also reported Friday that the U.S. economy added over 300,000 jobs. Unfortunately, most of them are bridge fixer.
Experts are saying that 2 different broods of cicadas will hatch this month, releasing trillions of cicadas into the U.S. And Biden is just letting them in.
Former President Donald Trump, seen here definitely not sleeping. He's probably just praying. Former President Trump, for the first time in his trial, wrote a message on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to his lawyer while he was making an argument. The Post-it read simply, "Can't pay you."
A new report shows that South Korea now has the world's lowest birth rate, despite the efforts of South Korean entertainer Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I heard you. Yeah. Hate it. First Lady Jill Biden also unveiled a new ice rink near the White House, setting the stage for next week's headline, "President Shatters Pelvis on Ice Rink."
Officials at Columbia University complained that protesters broke windows and destroyed school property. But so what? College kids also do that when they win the Final Four. Also, you're a university. If you really don't want students to freak out, stop telling them the truth. That's my advice for school and relationships.
After a judge issued a gag order against President Trump, Trump told reporters that the judge said, basically, I don't have the right to speak. Then he added, she's like literally killing me. Then he yelled, you're not even my real mom, and slammed his bedroom door.
President Biden said that the National Guard should not be called in to deal with campus protests, but I'm just happy that he's finally not sending military aid somewhere.
House Republicans have introduced a bill to rename Washington, D.C.'s Dulles Airport after Donald Trump. Because airports are a lot like Trump, a chaotic nightmare that turns you against your own family.
O.J. Simpson died this week at the age of 76 after a battle with prostate cancer that was planted on him by the LAPD. That was my best joke, Colin.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said next week she will force a vote to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. And if there's one thing I bet she's amazing at, it's driving men away.
It was reported that the man who married a conjoined twin is facing a paternity lawsuit from his ex-wife. Great. The last thing that guy needs is another mouth to feed.
A family in Michigan whose duck lost its mate placed a personal ad online to find the bird a new partner. And in a loving act of understanding, they even specified power bottom.
During a campaign event marking the start of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, President Biden criticized Japan as being xenophobic, which is crazy because why would the Japanese be scared of foreigners? Oh my God, Drake just dropped another diss record, guys! I'm just kidding, I just say that when I bomb. Honey.
I'm sorry. I apologize. During oral arguments in the case, Justice Samuel Alito raised the hypothetical, could a black department store Santa be forced to take a picture with a child dressed in a Klan robe? Alito added that he'd love an answer before he takes his grandkids to the mall next week. Florida's new abortion ban means that the majority of women in the South will have to travel more than 300 miles for the procedure. On the plus side, you can get free travel to New York by disguising yourself as a migrant. A fist fight almost broke out at a congressional hearing after Senator Markwayne Mullin challenged the president of the Teamsters Union to a fist fight. You challenge the president of the Teamsters to a fight? Do you have a death wish? The two things I learned growing up in New York were never mess with the Teamsters and don't drink that Snapple you found on the subway.
A new poll shows that supporters of President Biden and Donald Trump are sharply divided over where they get their news from. People who support Biden are more likely to get their news from newspapers and mainstream media, while Trump supporters get their news from T-shirts.
This week, Donald Trump Jr. testified in his father's civil fraud trial. And based on this courtroom sketch, I feel like it didn't go great. He's supposed to be talking about real estate, but he looks like he's on Law and Order saying, "That girl came on to me." And unlike the other packed courtroom days, only 4 people showed up, and Donald Trump Sr. was not present, which is just like all of Don Jr.'s childhood birthday parties. A new census report shows that by the end of the year 2060, 1 out of every 4 Americans will be Latino. That's how good Bad Bunny's music is. Donald Trump also told supporters that if he's elected, he will focus on anti-white racism. Thank God. My people have suffered long enough. Sorry, Che, but time's up.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said that he is blurring the faces on the footage of January 6 rioters so that none of them would be charged with a crime. So unfortunately, we'll never know who they are.
Several major media companies, including NBC Universal, have pulled their advertising from Elon Musk's X over concerns that ads for their shows could appear next to pro-Nazi propaganda, which is a huge relief because I was definitely worried about where this was going to end up.
I knew it was going to come out of you someday. Today was the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby, also known among horses as Squid Game.
There was actually an error in the LA Times obituary for O.J. Simpson. In the section about his prison time, instead of writing O.J. walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, they wrote Trump walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, a free man for the first time in 9 years. And it's not a great sign for Trump that even autocorrect thinks he belongs in jail.
It was announced that both Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms are leaving CBS's The NFL Today. The former quarterback said they want to spend more time figuring out which one is which. A new report shows that the gender death gap is rising, with men dying an average of 6 years before women, which is, it's actually scientific proof that men are actually dying a little every time we have to listen to your boring-ass stories.
Fans of the children's show Bluey are saying that a line in a recent episode hinted that Bluey's mom used to go to a park to smoke marijuana. Meanwhile, over at Coco Melon, every baby's on acid. Just hours ago, the Kentucky Derby was won in a photo finish by Mystic Dan. Mystic Dan is also the guy who sells acid to Coco Melon.
President Biden met with Japan's prime minister where they discussed building a new bullet train system in America using advanced Japanese technology. In return, Japan requested the advanced American technology of forks.
A new study finds that your risk of developing diabetes depends on how fast you walk and whether this sound plays while you're walking.
It was reported that Sylvester Stallone is writing a memoir. The memoir is 300 pages long and has a word count of 1. Hey, that's good acting, right, Colin? You like that? I've been working on it. All really good acting. New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses. Oh, man.
Wow.
New York City officials are considering controlling the city's growing rat population by using birth control pellets, which will also finally let female rats focus on their careers.
An 11-day cruise is being offered next year from Miami to the Caribbean, in which passengers will be nude. The cruise will offer pickleball, cornhole, and also games. A new report chronicles a disorder called sexsomnia, in which people try to have sex while they're asleep. The report was written by someone named Phil Fosby. The TSA reports that in the first 3 months of this year, they've intercepted 1,500 guns in carry-on bags, and the majority of them were loaded. Because you're giving me that window seat. It was reported that the James Bond books are being rewritten to remove offensive material. So the character Pussy Galore will now be called Cooter Aplenty.
May is National Masturbation Month, so stop knocking on my dressing room door.
Don't encourage.
Having a real rough time.
Well, a new trend among parents is to choose baby names that sound cool as TikTok handles. Great news for little baby Trick Shot COVID Hoax. Flacco, the beloved owl that escaped from the Central Park Zoo, died last week after he flew into a building. Flacco will be remembered for his famous last words, "Oh cool, another